One of the biggest regrets that I've had growing up was not asking for help. I've wasted my 20s from 20 to 29 to now because I did not ask for help. But the reality of the situation is the more you learn to accept the fact that, yeah, things can get better because you know what? I know this now and I can move forward with what I do know, things will get a lot better. And this is perhaps one of the hardest lessons that I've had to go through my 20s. What's going on, guys? My name is Felix, and I'm here to tell you all the life lessons I wish I told my 20-year-old self. So, first and foremost, at the time of this recording, I am about 29 years old, just 3 days short of being the big old grand 3-0. That's right. I'm about to turn 30 years old. I'm starting this podcast series of what I wish I told my 20-year-old self in the hopes that you, the viewer, if you're anywhere in life, even if you are older than me, these are lessons that are not only universal, but are lessons that you can take at any given point. Growing through my 20s, I have learned that you can not only learn from a great institution, you can learn from literally anybody at any place at any given time. And it's not so much that you are learning directly from them, it's more so you can indirectly learn from them. You can learn lessons from their mistakes, you can learn lessons from their actions, from their doings, but also, if they're not doing anything right, you'll probably learn a lesson of what not to do for the most part. That said, I digress. This is what I wish I could tell my 20-year-old self when I was broke, when I had nothing. Number one, recognize that you are broke. Just face it. Don't run from it. The more you run from it, the more you go in denial about it, the more you try to tuck it and sweep it under a rug, the more it's eventually going to bite you in the ass in the future. Trust me on this one. The biggest thing that anybody can go through when it comes to acknowledging certain problems is recognizing it. Recognizing that there is a problem. If you're in constant denial about the fact that there is a problem, A, you're not going to get away with it for very long. Because B, karma is a real thing. And trust me, it'll bite you in the ass when you least expect it. Look, if you're stuck in this kind of rut right now where you don't have any money, or you barely have any money, or you're living paycheck to paycheck, or you are looking from a point of view of scarcity, fret not. For every problem, there's always a solution to it. The very first thing you can always do is to resolve yourself. Take action. What I mean by resolve yourself, right? Take a deep breath. Know that there's always a solution to every problem, even the one that you're in. It doesn't end right then and there. The world doesn't crumble. I know it feels that way. And I know that how you're feeling right now is something that you're probably going to be stuck feeling for a while. But don't do that to yourself. The more you stay stuck in feeling that everything's helpless or everything's hopeless, the more you're going to be stuck in it for quite a while. You're going to waste a lot of time just thinking about what you could have done, what you could have been, what you could have put out there, what you could have become. But the reality of the situation is, it's not that way. And the more you learn to accept the fact that, yeah, it isn't that way, but things can get better because you know what? I know this now and I can move forward with what I do know, things will get a lot better. It's better to accept things. And this is perhaps one of the hardest lessons that I've had to go through my 20s. Accept that things aren't perfect. Accept that you are in a place of lack. Accept that you are not perfect and that you probably will never be. But you are a lot better than you were seconds ago. There. If there's ever one thing you take away from this video, accept that you are a lot better than you were seconds ago. By recognizing that you are not perfect, you therefore are already better than you were when you thought that you had everything under control. When deep down inside, you know damn sure well that you didn't. So know that you're getting better just by learning to accept that there is a problem. In order for you to solve any problem, you got to recognize that there is one. Number two, after recognizing that problem, Resolve yourself. Let's take a look at the words. Resolve. Solve is the root word of the word solution. If you're in a place of lack, what is one of the best things you can do? Counting everything. Counting your blessings, metaphorically speaking, of course. But B, counting whatever you do have. Write everything down. Write down the stuff that you do have. Write down your expenses. Even if it sounds dumb, write that down. And the biggest reason that you want to write down everything is because the power of your thoughts really takes over when you least expect it. When you're in a good mood, you feel virtually unstoppable. Think about the last time that you were in a good mood, whether it be at your job or doing something that was otherwise mundane or just boring. Was probably just as easy as drinking water for you. But when you're in a bad mood, think about the last time somebody told you off, or maybe even something worse. Maybe somebody dear in your life passed away. That energy just got sucked out of you, and it felt like you were drifting alone in a warped area between time and space, feeling lifeless. Those feelings that you get are primed and activated by the power of your own thoughts. And it's for that reason, write it down. The more you actualize things, the more you write things down, the more you realize how much everything is really going to cost. Nothing in this life is free. The biggest principle anybody could ever learn from any kind of point of economics is there's no such thing as a free lunch. There's always a cost to everything. If you know for a fact that there is a subscription to it, write it down. Write down how much every month will cost for the subscription. Or even better yet, if you know that there's going to be a discounted rate, write it down. Number three, as soon as you write down everything, look at that entire list. See what is absolutely necessary, aka something that you need within the next week. I want you to go ahead and take this list and I want you to go ahead and order it to certain things. Tier one, things I absolutely need like right now, or else I am screwed. Tier 2, things I need that are probably necessary for me within the next month. Tier 3, things that I can hold off to and just buy later within 12 months. If you're not exact with your measurements in certain things, such as money, well, you're just going to go through the same habits that got you broke in the first place. And truthfully, you're watching this video because, well, you're looking for a way out of being out of those habits. Number 4, if you find alternatives, decent substitutes that don't sacrifice the outcome that you want, go for them. If you have to go lean a bit, if you got to find alternatives to things just for a bit, maybe instead of going for Charmin, you could go for store brand toilet paper. For example, trust me, your life is not going to end just by going for alternatives in the meantime. At this place you are in your life, trust me, it gets better from here. Think of every substitute as a building block, as a stepping stone from where you need to be. Maybe you got into this mess because you got very careless with your own spending. But know this, every step you make, even if it has to be what's called a slight downgrade, is probably better for you. Every step you make, even if it's a slight downgrade, is probably going to be better for your upgrade in the long haul. Number 5, no matter what happens, remain honest with yourself. And I say that simply because don't lie to yourself. If you know for a fact that you're not good, and you're telling everyone else that you are in a good place, the consequences of lying to yourself will carry on to everybody else around you. Pretty soon, through your body language, it's going to show how much you really are in trouble or how much you really aren't in a good place. And then the people in your life who want to honestly be there for you and are not going to judge you for not being in a good place, they're going to be confused. They're not going to be angry. You may think they're going to be angry. You may think that they're not going to be supportive. But the truth of the matter is, they're going to be very confused and disappointed because they want to support you. If you give people a chance and you stop judging people, you'll learn that people are good in nature. Yeah, there's plenty of bad eggs out there. There's plenty of people out there. There's plenty of people out there who are probably not going to treat you as well as you should. But the golden rule always applies. If you want to be treated well, you got to treat others with respect. Unless, of course, they give you any kind of reason to not treat them right. This right here is particularly important. As soon as you get your paycheck, I wish I did this right away as soon as I got my first job. Save 10 to 20% of your paycheck immediately. If you're doing a part-time job, you're a college student, and you're watching this, save 10% of your check immediately. Whatever you can afford is put aside, minimum 10%. And I say that simply because you want to put 10% away for your own emergency savings in case you get unemployed, so you don't have to hit up the government for any government cheese. I ended up using the other 90% for anything that I needed, because you'll be surprised how much loose change can actually bail you out of certain situations. There's been many a time growing up when I was in grad school that I looked into my wallet and there's barely anything left. I'm talking about my own bank account as well. There's been many a time I went into my own bank account and I looked and I'm like, wow, I only have X amount of bucks left. I can only eat the cheese off a cheese pizza. That's how broke I am. Last but not least, ask for help. One of the biggest regrets that I've had growing up was not asking for help. I've wasted my 20s from 20 to 29 to now because I did not ask for help. I wasted my 20s because I did not face any facts. I ran away from problems as soon as I got them, including anything that had to do with me not being right, not just mentally, but also financially. If you're ever going to take anything from this podcast, I hope you realize this is a very cliche point. Trust me, it'll get better. And it'll get better because you know you're capable of better. And it'll get better because you know you can do better. It'll get better because only you know how to make yourself better. You have the capacity to choose to make yourself better. You have the power to make yourself better. Only you can draw the strength that you need. And if I was able to do it, through my entirety of my 20s, through the ups and downs I've had, and I believe you can too. Throughout my 20s, I've had to learn how to figure things out. I couldn't rely on taking direction anymore. I couldn't rely on looking up things. In my 20s, I was known as an information junkie. I was known as the kind of guy who would not ask for help. I would just research everything. Google was my best friend. Still is. I'll admit, anytime anybody asks me any questions, I'll always be looking stuff up on Google or Wikipedia or any kind of site that has any kind of random facts. That's why I'm a pretty decent trivia champion. On that note, if there's ever one thing I want you to take from this, know that you've got the ability to figure things out, but you've got to believe it. You've got to believe in your ability to figure things out. I did. Sure, it took me all 9 years from 20 to now to figure things out. And believe me, I'm still figuring things out, but no longer am I wasting the rest of my life. I may have wasted my 20s, but I'm now fulfilling the rest of my life. From 30 and beyond, I got this. And for you, the viewer, I'm excited for you to go ahead and join me on this journey. So on that note, thank you so much guys for watching this video. Please like this video, comment below what your favorite moments of this video were, and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.